Hello friends, my name is Vandrel, and before I talk about today's subject, I wanted to let you all know we now have a Discord and anyone is free to join. So if you want to interact with us, have questions, or you just want to hang out, feel free to join us. You can find the link in the About page of my channel, as well as in the description of this video. Yesterday, a member of our Discord asked about Gemstore purchases. And there are already great tier lists out there by other content creators. And a lot of the items in their videos overlap, mainly because there are items that are universally worth having or sometimes not worth spending your gems on at all. The one thing I would like to add to those lists is context. Sometimes what would be a top recommended item for one player might not be all that useful for another one. There are also certain items you don't need to necessarily spend your gems on, and you could unlock them over the long term by simply playing the game. So in this video I will try my best to provide you with that context, and I hope this will make it easier for you to decide if you want to buy a certain item or not. There are a few general rules that apply to whatever you're planning to buy on the Gemstore. The first one is that eventually nearly every item will go on sale. So if you can wait for a sale before making a purchase, you will instantly get more bang for your buck. An example of this would be the infinite gathering tools. A full set will quickly cost you around 3000 gems, as they usually cost 1000 gems per tool. But they often get sold at a 20% discount. That means that you could buy the same 3 tools for 2400 gems in total by simply waiting, saving you 600 gems to spend on other things. A second rule is realizing whether the thing you're buying is something you will get to enjoy permanently or whether it's a consumable. A prime example of this is an heroic booster. These cost 150 gems per booster and they grant you with some really nice buffs for 2 hours. The problem is that once those 2 hours expire, you will not get a benefit anymore of having bought that booster. Unless you spend another 150 gems and those costs will start racking up rather quickly. An alternative to this booster, and that is permanent, is the Candy Corn Gobbler. The Gobbler applies the exact same buffs as the booster but does not get consumed upon use, and it actually only costs 300 gems. So for the price of 2 boosters, you can now have a permanent way to stack up these buffs as well. Another example would be buying a level 80 boost. While yes, you get to be level 80 instantly, you can also simply level a character by spending some time crafting before you go out in the open world. Same result, but way cheaper on your wallet. A third general rule is that it often pays off doing a little research before spending the gems. Some of the Gemstore items can be acquired in the game completely for free. Let's take a look at my 2 previous examples for this. Did you know you can acquire infinite gathering tools from the Blackline statuette vendor? They cost 45 statuettes each and are the same exact ones you would be buying in the Gemstore, although they don't contain any glyphs, but those glyphs can also be bought on the trading post. Now, if you dig a little deeper, you'll see that the only way to obtain these statuettes is by opening Blackline chests, which might seem like another problem, because only the Gemstore sells the keys to open the Blackline chests. But here is where having some game knowledge pays off. There are multiple ways in the game to obtain these keys completely for free. You can make a new character and run the level 10 personal story chapter, which will reward you with a key. This method can be done once a week, but doing that for a full year means you get to have 52 keys completely for free. Another method would be doing map completion. Each map you fully complete rewards you with either a transmutation charge or a Blackline key. And while you might not get a key for every map, if you like doing world completions, they will stack up rather quickly. By the way, doing world completions will also stop you from buying waypoint unlocks, which is in my opinion a very expensive item at 2000 gems and thus something that you will end up doing eventually on most of your characters anyway. The second example I gave were the heroic boosters, and this is another one where having game knowledge pays off. I already explained how to get permanent access to the boosts by not buying the boosters themselves but a candy corn gobbler. But did you know you can also buy the boosters from the Laurel vendor? 30 minutes of those boosts cost you 1 laurel each, and you get 35 laurels every single month just for logging into the game. So before you go out and purchase something on the Gemstore, it is always worth checking the wiki page of that specific item and see what the item actually provides. Often you can click through these pages and go check if something else in the game will offer you the same thing, but for free. The fourth rule is a very important one as well, but only you can provide the answer for yourself, and that is knowing yourself and your preferences when it comes to playing this game. Let's take two players as an example. Player A likes maining a single character and ends up spending 90% of his time on that specific character. Player B is his polar opposite. He doesn't want to commit to only one character and ends up swapping around between multiple of them based on his mood or his needs. Well, certain Gemstore items that are considered good value by default could be worth more for one of these players but not for the other. And to illustrate this point, let's go over a few unlocks and start with extra bag slots. Player A, who will spend almost all his time on his single character, might end up with a full inventory and would benefit from having more backspace. While player B might want more backspace on some of his characters, but not on others. If he only plays his necromancer in raids, for example, he will most likely be fine with the standard 5 bag slots his character came with. Another unlock that might be worth more for either of them are build and gear slots. And this one isn't necessarily based on whether you like having a main or playing alts, but rather on how you play and use your characters. Let's say player A likes playing Revenant and wants a slot for each of his builds, as he likes to swap between 2 builds in the open world, but in group content he also wants to be ready to change on the fly to an appropriate build as well. And for group content, he makes a power DPS build, a condition DPS build, a quickness build, an alacrity build, and also a quickness healer build and an alacrity healer build. Well, gear and build slots just became incredibly valuable to him. But if that same player only plays a single Vindicator build in the open world and only alacrity renegade in group content, buying the extra slots would suddenly become a very expensive deal. And the same case can be made for player B. Maybe he wants to swap between 4 builds on his engineer, but he only plays a single soul beast build. Well, he gains no extra benefit from unlocking all of the slots on his soul beast in that case. And a final example for this would be the shared inventory slots. It stands to argue that player A will most likely need less of them, as he doesn't care about being able to swap items between his characters. But maybe player B needs to swap a certain item every time he swaps a character. So once more, for one of the players, this same unlock has a different value. And the fifth and final rule I want to share is being honest with yourself about what you like doing when you play this game. And let's take the infinite gathering tools once more as an example. For me, these tools have been one of the best quality of life items I ever bought. But that is because I like running around in the open world just to gather. Some days that's all I do and I get great enjoyment out of it. But if gathering is such a tedious task for someone that he rather quits the game than do another gathering run, well, he would do better skipping out on those tools and spends his gems elsewhere. And once again, this is where having some game knowledge also can pay off. If you don't like gathering, but you still want access to, let's say, a glyph of bounty because you do daily home instance gathering, well, in that case you can simply buy limited use tools for karma from one of the vendors in the main hubs. And to end this video with, I have one final point actually. And that is also to not let anyone dictate you what you should or shouldn't buy. If you get enjoyment out of riding a mount with a cool skin, go for it. If you want to unlock more gameplay and features, buy the Living World Seasons. And if you want to cosplay as a Katsura, buy that Adventurer's outfit. So if you have any more questions or comments, make sure to leave them down below. If you want to chat with me or anyone in the community directly, check out the Discord linked in the description. And if you liked it, please like this video, and your subscription would mean the world to me.